Hi, this is David with Discount Dragon, and this is our Stand in the Middle segment number 2 about asset forfeiture. I did the first segment, and I really didn't get much attention. Got about 30 views on it, and that's unfortunate because I had really hoped that people would pay attention because it was really, really important. Since then, things have gotten worse, and it's a very short time period. So I am once again going to try to explain the concept of asset forfeiture, why it's dangerous, and what has just happened to make it even worse, and what you can do about it. I'm not going to do it as well as somebody with a giant YouTube channel because I don't do this professionally. This is just me speaking my mind and trying to help. So let's see. I was talking with one of my friends recently, and they were asking why I care about political stuff that's so far removed from daily life, why I waste my time with it. And with things like asset forfeiture, it's not that far removed from your daily life, and it's getting less so every day. And just within the last couple days, it moved more into encroaching on our lives. So, here we go. The basic concept of civil asset forfeiture is that you can have your property taken away even if you are not charged with a crime. And I tried to explain this in my last video, and afterwards I got comments such as, well, I'm not a criminal, why should I care about asset forfeiture? It doesn't affect me. Which means either they didn't watch the video or I didn't explain it well enough. So I will try to explain it better. Civil asset forfeiture. It started out as a means to stop big criminals from operating in the U.S. with impunity. So they would find these big criminals, like big drug dealers, and because they were pretty certain they had committed crimes, they would go in and seize all of their assets. Then the government gets to keep those assets even if they can't make their case against the criminal. At this stage, everything seems okay. In fact, it's not okay because they are doing something that's unconstitutional. They are seizing property and keeping it without charging you with a crime. Now, in some of these cases, they are charged with crimes. That's less problematic. But if they're not charging the person with a crime, they're keeping your stuff without charging you with a crime, which is unconstitutional. At this point, you're saying it's drug dealers, I don't care. So let's move on. It's been used lots of other ways that it should not be used since then, because everybody that takes your stuff gets a cut of your stuff. So if your local police come and take all of your assets, they get to keep at least some of those assets for themselves for funding their departments. Now, most recently, here in Arizona, within the last couple days, they passed a bill that would make it possible for them to seize your house, your car, your bank account, anything you have of value if you participate in planning a protest and there's violence that happens. Now, some people are going to say, well, if you're conducting a violent protest, then you deserve to have something happen to you. Okay, you can make that case. It's a bad case because it is, once again, unconstitutional, because they don't have to charge you with anything. So they can take your house, your car, they can seize your bank account, they can seize your personal belongings, all without charging you with anything. Which is not good. However, as with all of these things, it gets worse. If you are planning a protest and there is violence during the protest that results in property damage, you are going to have your assets seized. Do you deserve it? Well, here's where it gets a little worse. If the people that commit the property damage are not associated with your protest, in other words, you're peacefully protesting, somebody comes in with another group, like those black hooded Antifa people, and the Antifa people break windows, then you have conducted a protest that results in property damage. They can seize your assets. So that's not great. So any protest at any time can have outside people come in, and any property damage they do, it justifies the government taking your assets. Of course, you can say, well, I just participated in the protest. I didn't plan it, so I don't have to worry. And that's putting a lot of faith in the government, who is already doing something that is unconstitutional. So, if you are participating in a protest, and you've got a nice car and a nice house, and there's violence at the protest, and they go after the leaders, and they seize their house, their assets, everything they can, who says you're not part of the leadership of the protest? Do you belong to a Facebook group that they belong to? Have you ever emailed them? Do you know somebody who knows somebody? Are the cops going to care? Are the people seizing the property going to care? They don't have to prove anything. They don't have to charge you with a crime. They just have to seize your assets. Once your assets are seized, you don't have an easy route to getting them back. If they charge you with a crime, you get your day in court, and you can try to get them back by proving that you're innocent. So you have to prove you're innocent. It's not innocent until proven guilty. And that's great, isn't that? That's exactly how things should not work in our society. And then it gets worse. Okay, if you're not charged with a crime, you don't even get your day in court. And if you don't take any action, they still get to keep all your assets. So you're rounded up because there was some kind of violence at a protest. Everybody is run through as racketeering. They seize all your assets. They seize your friend's assets. You don't have a house. You don't have a car. You don't have anything. The money in your bank account is frozen and then seized. And all because you'd like to speak your mind. If this is the sort of world that you like, then you're welcome to it. I don't go to protests. It doesn't affect me. I'm not going to go to protests. It's not my thing. But you liberals seem to love protests. You might want to pay attention. Of course, it doesn't just affect liberals. It affects anyone that goes to a protest. If you're a conservative and you hear about some psychotic liberal protest and you're like, oh my God, I can't deal with that, and you go down and you're the anti-protest to their protest, and some guy on your side goes in and punches somebody, they smash a window, they walk in some flowers. I mean, they don't designate the level of property damage. It's just property damage. Did somebody trample a flower bed during all of this? That's property damage. They can go in, and now you have lost your house, your car, your gun collection, whatever you've got. If it has a big juicy dollar sign attached to it, they will take it. So you don't get a protest. You don't get to organize a protest. You don't get to go be the anti-protest. You don't get to do anything. You want to stay away from those venues because you have the potential to have your entire life destroyed because these people are using unconstitutional rules. Now, you may just not care. But if you do care, here's my strategy. It's the only strategy I know of that right at the moment seems to have a good chance of getting some action that will produce results. Currently, Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Gorsuch, has not been confirmed. Gorsuch is the sort of person that would strike this sort of law down. Trump has come out in support of asset forfeiture. He's wrong. He doesn't know he's wrong because he doesn't care about this issue. He just made a knee-jerk, oh, that's horrible, I'm on this side of the issue sort of reaction like he usually does. If Trump sits down with Gorsuch and has him explain what this is, what the potential for abuse is, and why it's not constitutional, we can turn Trump around. If the federal government is not in support of civil asset forfeiture, it will keep more laws like this from going through. It will also keep the federal government from expanding this power. This is an insanely dangerous power, and we need to stop it. So, what I would recommend is, first off, get people to watch this video, or just explain this to them. And I've created a hashtag, which is #ConsultGorsuch, which is to try to get Trump to talk to Gorsuch to explain this. So I would recommend people contact Gorsuch, explain this to him, and that he needs to talk to Trump. Contact Trump, explain to him he needs to talk to Gorsuch. If this happens, and if this turns around, it is a win for the American people. It will help to stop the erosion of our civil liberties. It is also a win for Trump, because Trump will be on the right side of the issue. And he will be doing so at the behest of his Supreme Court nominee. And he gets to prove that he can listen to people. He gets to prove that the Supreme Court nominee will help keep him in check and steer him back onto a constitutional path, and therefore make it more likely that Gorsuch will end up on the Supreme Court. And there is no downside to this. You can say, well, it helps Trump a little bit. Who cares? It helps Trump a little. It helps Trump get back on the right track. It gives us a Supreme Court nominee, hopefully, that understands and believes in people's rights according to the Constitution. I've done my part. Now it's up to you. #ConsultGorsuch. Do what you can. Get people to watch this video. Get them to use the hashtag on Twitter and wherever it's applicable. And until the next insane, outrageous law in this category comes down, I'm going to let it be. I can't spend all my time beating a dead horse, but this is insanely dangerous, and this is insanely dangerous in such a way that it stomps upon your First Amendment right, specifically your right to peacefully assemble and protest. Because it doesn't take much at all to turn this into a case where they can come in and seize everyone's assets and you do not get them back. They can seize your house, your car, your antiques, I don't care. They can just seize it all. Inform yourself about this topic. Civil asset forfeiture has already been misused blatantly in other cases, and this is a horrible, horrible precedent to set. I don't know, spread this around if you can and if you care about it. It's very, very dangerous. That's it for today. See you next time.